So a new proposal to define the word dealer could be bad news for DeFi. A 200-page proposal aims to redefine what it means to be a securities dealer and would expand the definition to include people and businesses that use automated and algorithmic trading tech to execute trades and provide liquidity. Now, what the crypto industry is concerned about is a footnote in the document. And it says the proposed rule would also apply to digital assets that have been deemed to be securities. Adam, I'm going to pass this one off to you. Just a small footnote in a 200-page document. A lot of people on Twitter think that this is really an attempt to undermine the industry and get a stronghold of DeFi. What did you think of this story?
I have a lot of sympathy for these types of perspectives on these sorts of stories because, again, the sort of powers that be, the Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's of the world, the Gary Genslers of the world, these are not really allies of the space. These are people who are, to my eyes, looking for reasons to make things more difficult, to make things easier for sort of the existing way that things work, to frankly stay the people in power. And so when you're talking about these footnotes, you're talking about the bill last year, where Treasury said that they weren't going to look at the interpretation of broker-dealer to include certain types of people, but they didn't actually codify it in law. Again, I think it's totally reasonable to have expectations and to look at these things with a lot of skepticism because, again, one of the things that cryptocurrencies are at a fundamental level is they are a challenge to the existing power structure. And when you're talking about the regulators of the world, the Gary Genslers of the world, these are the people who are in power. And it seems unlikely they're just going to let that go.
Yeah, there was a tweet, I believe, in the article that said, if this happens, it could kill tech, which I think is a very broad statement. But Zach, I saw your hand go up there. Do you think that a small footnote could kill tech and kill DeFi?
I mean, that's a little hyperbolic, but this definitely feels like a deja vu headline, right? I think we saw this I don't know, my brain is a mess, but I'm pretty sure we saw some version of this headline within the last 18 months. And this is sort of, again, something that we're having to reckon with when it comes to how these systems and constructs can and cannot be made to comport with existing regulatory frameworks. And I think DeFi is a really important example for these conversations, right? Do you need a money transmitter license if you can send money in a peer-to-peer fashion or interact with these DeFi protocols as robots on the internet that are doing bank-like functions, right? It's like this question that has yet to be advanced. And I think maybe this time around, there does seem to be a little bit more momentum on the lobbying and or education front, depending on how you look at it. So it would be interesting to see if some of these nuances can find their way into the law of the land. But this one, to me, just feels like we did this before. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of it this time around. That's all I got. Christy, I'll toss it to you. You are muted, I believe.
Oh, we can't hear you.
Yes, it is. There's not a lot, I think, other than that really struck me. That wasn't, as Zach said, we've seen this before, except the other thing we've seen before is the sneak attack version, where we are going to get this kind of shoved in at the last minute. And oh my gosh, now we have to all react to it and we have to pull it out. And they thought they could get it by us, but heck, we found out anyway. And the inclination to primarily regulate through enforcement, throw this in there, make it too late for us to do anything about it, and then regulate by enforcement. And the lack of clarity and the sort of, just heavy-handed way of going about making sure that there is lack of clarity makes it really tough on an industry that is here to stay, one would think. It is global, and they're doing their best, as you say, to hang on to power. And if this is the way to do it, then everyone has to just be vigilant, and that's exactly what people like Jake and the blockchain association are doing. So good on them for catching things on our behalf. And that's all I got to say about that.